as I was talking about woke is f***ing back. And of course, as woke is f***ing back, there are some victims of woke Sharia. Victims of woke Sharia. As the ayatollah of woke, I must explain to you, we took a scalp last night. Jake Paul. Jake Paul said, purposely turning off the halftime show. Let's rally together and show big corporations they can't just do whatever they want without consequences, which equals viewership for them. You are their benefit. Realize you have power. Turn off this halftime. A fake American citizen performing who publicly hates America. I cannot support that. Now, this is extra fucked considering who Jake Paul is. Jake Paul is an American from Ohio who moved to Puerto Rico because while Puerto Rican citizens pay 36% tax, Americans from the mainland that go to Puerto Rico only pay 3% tax. Jake Paul, being a multimillionaire, moved to Puerto Rico to take advantage of Puerto Rico's tax haven status for wealthy whites. Puerto Rico is basically an island territory that is currently being dominated by cryptocurrency charlatans, pedophiles of different sorts that are going over there to exploit the local population and to take advantage of the tax benefits. It is disgusting. It's unfair. And Bad Bunny has actually talked about it extensively. This is part of the reason why Jake Paul hates Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny has directly called out the Paul brothers for doing this, just so you understand. And what's really fucked up, what's doubly fucked up, is that Jake Paul actually has, not only has Jake Paul lived in Puerto Rico since 2021, Jake Paul is, of course, doing the classic lie that people from Puerto Rico are not American citizens. They are, right? People on the island can't, unfortunately, vote. You know, they don't have an elected representative, but Puerto Ricans can move to the mainland and participate in the American theoretical bourgeois democracy. Jake Paul himself has also flown the Puerto Rican flag over and over again when it suits him and has been living there since 2021. Now, people yelled at him, and then he did a double down, into KFC double down. The problem with my tweet is the word fake being misinterpreted. He's not a fake citizen, obviously, because he's Puerto Rican, and I love Puerto Rico and all Americans who support the country. More so, Bunny is fake because of his values and criticisms of our great country. And then he did it again. He said, to clarify, I wasn't calling anyone a fake citizen because they're from Puerto Rico. I live in Puerto Rico. I love Puerto Rico. I've used all my platform to support Puerto Rico time and time again, and will always do so. But if you're publicly criticizing ICE, who are doing their job and openly hating on America, I'm going to speak on it, period. That's the same reason I called out Hunter Hess. If you benefit from a country and the platform it gives you, but publicly disrespect it at the same time, that's what I mean by being a fake citizen. And I agree, love is more powerful than hate. Love America. So he's like, you know, doubling down, tripling down. And then eventually he gives in and says, guys, I love Bad Bunny. I don't know what happened on my Twitter last night. Question mark, what the fuck? AOC also cooked his ass. You know who cooked his ass too? Like a bunch of my friends cooked his ass too. I loved it. A fake American citizen. Didn't you move to Puerto Rico to avoid paying your taxes while kids across America go hungry? Meanwhile, Benito actually funds low-income kids' access to arts and sports programs while you defund them. Of course you're mad. He made you look small. He makes you look small. This is how it will play out for all the anti-woke warriors, inshallah, under woke Sharia, which we will implement. Obviously, our fifth column infiltrator, Zohran Kwame Mamdani, has already implemented woke Sharia in New York, also known as Mamdanistan. We will do this to all reactionary Americans. We will offer them struggle sessions. We will offer them the opportunity to engage in self-crit. And if they do not, we will have the wokest struggle sessions of all time. And the cultural revolution will be implemented. And anti-wokes, reactionaries, rightists of all sorts and all different backgrounds will be brought to heel. As the woke ayatollah, inshallah, I promise you this, okay? This is what you can look forward to. Is that why Zoran called Dion Canel a dictator? That's the self-crit I want? Shut the fuck up. I know. You don't have to bring that up every time. Yes. Let me joke a little bit. I'm also not the woke Sharia, the woke ayatollah, okay? Jesus Christ, I can't even make a couple jokes before chatters immediately slam that in as though I haven't talked about it a million times over. Zohran Kwame Mamdani was simply doing a practice known as taqiyya. When he was calling the Cuban government a tyrannical dictatorship alongside the Venezuelan government, he was simply doing the practice of taqiyya. Logan Paul also dunked on his brother, recognizing which way the winds were blowing beforehand. He said, I love my brother, but I don't agree with this. Puerto Ricans are Americans, and I'm happy that they were given the opportunity to showcase the talent that comes from the island. Except Logan Paul here recognized which way the winds were blowing after he had already said he was not looking forward to the halftime show. Now, that's the reason why I said this is basically like a filter. Are you a hog? Are you lost? Are you far gone? Or are you a normal person? If you are a normal person, even if you have reactionary opinions, as one does sometimes, you looked at this halftime performance and you said, there's something I can take out of this. I can shake my ass to it. I like it. I like the music, all this stuff, right? But if you were an abnormal person, you looked at this halftime performance and you thought shit like Laura Loomer. Here's an abnormal performance. An abnormal person reacting to it. It's kind of ironic how Bad Bunny was dancing on an electrical post of the Super Bowl halftime show. Puerto Rico isn't exactly known for having reliable electricity. He could have highlighted the electrical grid crisis in PR and done some good with his platform, but he chose degeneracy. To which I responded with, you are medically stupid. Looking at the unironic point and being like, well, I didn't understand the actual point that was being made here. I don't even like this type of music, nor speak basically any Spanish, and I thought it was a banger, hella good production value. Everyone was having fun. It seemed to mean a lot to a lot of people, and the point about United America at the end of the performance was really important as well. There was also Representative Andy ogling what he claimed is gay porn. Last night's halftime show was a disgrace, and it mocked American families. Depicting gay pornography on primetime has no place in our culture. The Bad Bunny performance is conclusive proof that Puerto Rico should never be a state. Fucking idiot. But my favorite thing was that the chirping, the endless amounts of chirping, actually revealed something profound. It revealed many, many contradictions. It revealed something profound. First and foremost, it revealed that the right wing have no cultural dominance, right? They have no cultural dominance whatsoever. They have nothing. A lot of people actually made hay over this notion that like the right wing was having their moment in the spotlight, that they were actually killing it, that they, anti-woke was going to be the new meta. And a lot of corporations followed through on it. If you recall, I told you even back then that they have no cultural dominance whatsoever. They have no cultural output whatsoever. It's pure reactionary. They're too angry to actually make something profound, to make something impactful. Remember when the New York Magazine article came out, like the ball, the MAGA ball, and all the new face of American culture, all this stuff. And I kept telling you, just wait. They don't have it. They're too angry. Their weed is not loud at all. Their bitches are not bad at all. They got no motion whatsoever. They got no creativity. They're too mad all the time to actually produce something of worth. The cruel kids table, as they said. A lot of these corporations also leaned into it because they're stupid. They thought they would get bullied over and over again. Look where we're at now. Their cultural output is meaningless. Their cultural output amounts to a bunch of drunk, alcoholic, divorced dads screaming into a microphone. Their active resistance has to be propped up by bots. It's so bad that even XQC, who said he didn't like the Super Bowl halftime performance because it was Spanish, even though he himself is not a English speaker, a convincing English speaker, recognized the botting that was taking place.
Yo, is the chat frozen? I don't get it. Live chat. It's not loading yet.
I just want to catch my fish, drive my truck, drink my beer.
Guys,
not wake up to all this
hello?
stuff I don't want to hear.
Hello?
Same kind of gun I hunt with.
That was most likely a YouTube bug, by the way, but their chat was moving slower than my chat at the time, and my chat had like 29,000 people watching. That chat supposedly had like millions of people watching, and yet my chat was moving faster than their chat. I responded to this. I said, Republicans created a separate reality where they're popular in the algorithm on Twitter, and now they keep this false narrative going through botted metrics. Hilariously, they're committed to the delusion that they have cultural prominence and their views aren't horrifying to normal folks, which they are. That's why we always say Twitter is not real life. Even though this is the most Twitter-adjacent administration, this is the most like, we will turn everything that we see on Twitter to real life, whether you like it or not, ass administration. The reality of the matter is, most normal people look at this kind of stuff with abject horror. They consider this to be gross, sweaty. Turning Point USA also believes their own nonsense. Jack Posobiec says, #1 entertainment event in YouTube history, #1 U.S. live stream in YouTube history, #1 American event in U.S. history, #1 English language live stream in U.S. or in YouTube history. Here's a conversation that Jack Posobiec and Benny Johnson had. Breaking: NFL Network inside sources reveal advertisers are panicking after TPUSA Super Bowl halftime show broke the record for #2 live stream YouTube in YouTube history.
What's the tail of the tape, Jack? Like, what's the numbers gonna shake out to be? Is it gonna be 40 million viewers?
So this is what people need to know is that the 25 million number that has come out already, that's just from the main YouTube and Rumble stream. So that's just crunching the numbers there. We've already got just YouTube alone, Turning Point's main stream, 6.17. And the 17 is significant because the previous #2 YouTube live stream of all time was 6.15. So that's the #2 live stream in all of YouTube history. The number one in terms of entertainment, because the first one was actually the Indian lunar probe. So number one in terms of entertainment on all of YouTube in all of the platforms' history. I can't even, it boggles the mind to even think about those kind of numbers. And then we haven't even sat there. Andrew and I were chatting about this last night. You know, we might see 40, we might see 50. The sky is really the limit because we have so many partners. And then we haven't even got into X, and so many people were restreaming it and putting it.
It's so awesome that they literally viewbot and then believe their own lot. Like, I mean, I guess Jack himself probably is a part of the inner workings of Turning Point USA. So he's like obviously directly aware that the viewbotting is taking place. But there is something to be said about how funny it is where you're like, I've invented an alternative reality. I know that I invented it. I played a role in inventing this alternative reality. And now I believe this alternative reality I invented. It's fucking great. It's just like, hell yeah, dude, we did it. 6 million people watch this shit. Bitch, the Trump administration didn't even watch this shit. In Mar-a-Lago, I know that this is a lie. You want to know why I know this is a lie? Because Mar-a-Lago was playing the actual Super Bowl halftime show. And everyone on the timeline, every single person on the timeline on the right has been complaining about Bad Bunny's performance. So obviously, they didn't watch the Turning Point USA thing at all. Because if they had, well, you know, and they wanted to maintain the presence that they had watched it, they would be like, oh, it was so awesome. I loved watching it. I did not watch halftime performance. We watched the Turning Point USA one. Release footage from inside the Trump golf club Super Bowl party reveals a Bad Bunny halftime show played on the big screens rather than the far-right Turning Point USA alternative show. I think there's something really funny about like this 2016 era liberalism that the Republicans have decided to engage with. Where 2016 era liberalism, one of the most annoying parts about that, from my perspective, was this idea that like your consumption and the content that you watch actually says something about your advocacy. I'm going to watch the right TV show rather than the wrong TV show. This is not real activism. Oh, you watched the wrong TV show or you liked the wrong character in the TV show. That says something about who you are. You're a bad person. And this was something that they hyper-focused on, like consumption as a method of activism. And I've always been annoyed with that. I think it's ridiculous. It's very stupid. It is an unfortunate aspect of the liberalization of everything. Liberalism is monoculture. Liberalism is hegemonic. That's precisely the reason why all these people do this shit, because they have no other ambitions. They have no other way of resisting. They don't understand like the most profoundly impactful historic version of real resistance against like unjustifiable hierarchies is either come from the barrel of a gun, right? Like real militancy, or at least labor militancy. The labor struggle has, in the post-industrial revolution, been the only successful method of doing real activism, if you want to call it that. But because we don't have that in our recent history, everyone thinks the only way that you can engage in activism is by watching the right TV show or not watching the wrong TV show. It's ridiculous. No, that's not boycotting. Okay, there's a difference. There is directional boycotts. If you make sure that the boycotting that you're engaging in is also working alongside all of these other things, then it can be impactful. Selective consumption is not actual real activism at all. We'll talk about Megyn Kelly's idiotic, idiotic response as well. I might have missed it, but how do you know it was viewbotted? Well, one, I know it was viewbotted because of the lack of cultural significance that this had. That's number one. Number two, I know it was viewbotted because I was watching it in real time. And we saw the numbers jump from 200,000 to 400,000 to 1 million to 1.4 million in a matter of seconds. It would just have these massive spikes. That's the reason why we know it was viewbotted. I was there. I watched it. Also, seemingly, we were the only people that watched the show because no one was talking about the halftime show. And no one was talking about the TPUSA halftime show. Everyone was talking about the Super Bowl halftime show, including the right-wing Republicans. The right-wing Republicans did not talk about the TPUSA halftime show at all.
So we are going to see a staggering number of views on this. And it's something where, and I'm sure you heard as well, that the entertainment industry and the advertisers are very, very worried about this.
No, they're not.
And Cliff Maloney had a source inside NFL Networks who said they are freaking out over
They're not. Bad Bunny's halftime performance was the most watched halftime performance in the history of NFL Super Bowl halftime performances, for the record. Not that it even matters, but they're not even right on any of this.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Because what it does is it ultimately shows that you've lost the culture war, that the NFL has decided to sabotage and betray their own fans, to do a program that is not in English, that has third world aesthetics, that's open borders messaging, LGBT messaging, woke propaganda. And I think the greatest sin of them all, you can't even listen to it. It's like mumble rap, but Spanish, and no songs that anybody knows. All the videos coming out from the stands, Jack, it like shows people standing like statues. Nobody was into it. Nobody liked this.
Yeah, no, totally. They're anti-NFL now. Yes, they've dropped. Anti-woke is so hysterical that they've decided to poison themselves from the normie ecosystem by further isolating themselves from the things that normies enjoy. This will be unimaginably off-putting for people in the same exact way that the hyper-wokes were somewhat off-putting. Let's be real, when they would constantly tell you, you can't consume that, you can't do this, you can't do that. If you watch one battle after another, you have to watch one battle after another the right way. That kind of shit still has a little bit of cultural significance, and it's like annoying, but you can just avoid it, right? And at least it's done at the behest of a greater cause that is overall a good cause. Whereas these guys' cause is also bad, and the methods are also annoying. They've completely dropped the ball. Okay, they've completely dropped the ball. They have no cultural products that they can lean into. They are losing the normies in general. It's done. It's over. Yeah, real viewership numbers. Super Bowl 127 million, Turning Point 18 million, Bad Bunny 2.2 million. It's one of those things where like Americans love their treats. You can't convince yourself that you enjoy this as a treat, okay? For activist reasons. You can try and entertain an audience that is that has a lot of appetite for believing this false reality, this false narrative. But at the end of the day, no one is sitting through this shit and going, hell yeah, I'm bobbing my head, rather than actually watching the NFL Super Bowl halftime show. Patrick Bet David is another one of these morons who is doing this thing. Roger Goodell is praying TPUSA halftime doesn't hit 3 million plus on their YouTube live stream. This could be complete disruption of the halftime show business model. $10 million commercial spots are on the line. This could be a topic of discussion tomorrow. Pure cope. Pure cope. Let them cope to an increasingly smaller and smaller audience. Let them yell. Let them cope. Let them dream. Let them believe this false narrative, this false reality that they have presented.
There's at least one person who did not like Bad Bunny's message last night.
Wonder who that is.
That was President Trump, who has made that clear from the very beginning. He was not a fan.
By the way, this once again proves the point that I was making earlier, that no Republican, including Donald Trump, actually watched that dogshit Turning Point USA halftime show, and it was botted into fucking oblivion because Donald Trump was live tweeting about Bad Bunny's performance instead.
Meanwhile, say the Super Bowl culture.
I love this cope, man. Give it to me. Inject it directly into my fucking veins, baby. Inject it directly into my fucking veins. I want to mainline this fucking copium. I want to mainline it. Oh, it's so good. Let's hear what this dumbass had to say. Megyn Kelly just shouting football is ours at Piers Morgan about Bad Bunny's Super Bowl show is the perfect example of this moment in time. Put in a time capsule and send it out to space.
I'm sorry, Piers, but to get up there and perform the whole show in Spanish is a middle finger to the rest of America. Who gives a damn that we have 40 million Spanish speakers in the United States? We have 310 million who don't speak a lick of Spanish. This is supposed to be a unifying event for the country, not for the Latinos, not for one small group, but for the country. We don't need a black national anthem. We don't need a...
I have a lot of opinions in my mind that I can't say out loud because I don't want to get banned again off Twitch, because Twitch obviously does protect whites as an identity that must be protected. But I'm thinking the things that I'm not saying out loud, and you can too. It's not illegal to think these things, at least for the time being, until there's a government-mandated Neuralink program that actually comes to your house and chips you. And then when you think those things, Palantir-backed AI drones come and swarm your house and laser you. But for the time being, I can still think it. Oh my God. 40 million Latinos speak Spanish, but 310 million don't. Shut the fuck up. Whoo! Guess what? Approximately 200 million Americans tuned in and were loving the fucking show. Because not everyone is as hyper invested in being a dumbass racist like you, Megyn Kelly. The notion that you can't enjoy a product of the American tapestry because it's not speaking English, it's not speaking American, is so fucking moronic. These are the same people who talk about classical compositions as the real music, or talk about opera, for example. I don't think they know how to speak Italian either. So why is that a higher form of art, whereas this is unenjoyable? I wonder why. You know, this woman was shaking it to Pitbull in her 20s. Dog, when that woman was in her 20s, Pitbull was not around. Sid Rosenberg also had a statement. Let's continue.
Spanish-speaking, non-English performer, and we don't need an ICE or America hater featured as our primetime entertainment.
Okay, what is the national language, officially, the national language of the United States of America?
I mean, English. And there's been a push for many years to make it an official,
you don't have one.
Documented thing.
You don't have one.
If you would have let me finish my comment, I would have pointed that out, but people have been pushing to make it official.
Okay,
right,
so you're trying to make official.
This attitude that you have right here is why you in Great Britain have lost your culture. You ceded your culture to a bunch of radical Muslims who came in and took over, and now it's gone. We're not allowing that here. Whether it's Hispanic, whether it's Muslim, it's not happening in the United States of America. That's why President Trump was elected. And whether it's Bad Bunny, who is American but refuses to speak English in his performances, or anybody else, we have to keep.
Oh my God, this is so awesome. I think Bad Bunny should perform every year. If he does dude, that's so dope. Oh my God. I already love Bad Bunny. You guys know this, but my love for him, I did not realize could grow tenfold. Oh my God. Oh my God. They're fucking screaming. They're running around like headless chickens. Oh my God. It's so amazing. Oh my God. Oh, this is so fucking good. I'm nutting. Oh, he should never speak English ever again, okay, for the rest of his life, I think. Oh, it's so fucking good. Oh my God, it's so good. If this is how hard you get triggered by this performance, I mean, oh my God, it's so beautiful. It's a gift that keeps on giving. Not only was the work itself very fun and enjoyable, not only was there a lot of significance to the work of art, but this secondary consequence is making me enjoy it even more. Oh, it's so good.
Keep Super Bowl, which is a quintessential American event. Football, that kind of football, is ours. They call it American football. And the halftime show and everything around it needs to stay quintessentially American. Not Spanish, not Muslim, not anything other than good old-fashioned American.
Closed presents with another 100.
There should be a meatloaf, maybe some fried chicken, and an English-speaking performer. That's what the Super Bowl should be.
Oh my God, Malding's so hard.
And the halftime show and everything around it needs to stay quintessentially American. Not Spanish, not Muslim, not anything other than good old-fashioned American apple pie. There should be a meatloaf, maybe some fried chicken, and an English-speaking performer. That's what the Super Bowl should be.
Hell yeah. Bad Bunny should never speak English, ever. Oh my God, it's so fucking dope. Oh, this is so injected directly into my veins. Annex is Spanish-speaking Hispanic country. How dare you Hispanics be American? If you told someone, Drew Pavlos said, if you told someone in the year 2000 that within one generation the Super Bowl halftime show would be performed completely in Spanish. By the way, can I just say, moment of utter vindication for all the globe Twitter emoji guys that we all called correctly for years and years as the newest iteration of neo-Nazis, even though they were technically on the right side on Ukraine. They tried to sneak into the conversation, into the discourse by being like, well, we're defending Ukraine. Like, we can't possibly be Nazis, right? And we all said, no, they're Nazis. I love that so many of those, like, NAFO guys have either literally killed themselves or have outed themselves as Nazis. Like, there's that other one. Drew Pavlov is obviously one of them. Straight up. All of the NatSec liberal guys, all the NATO guys are just straight up taking the mask off. seems like they didn't even care about defending Ukraine. They just cared about NATO, really. Visegrad 24, Drew Pavlov. There's that one Belarusian guy who's like constantly tweeting about how deportations are good. A moment of pure vindication here. If you told someone in the year 2000 that within one generation the Super Bowl halftime show would be performed completely in Spanish, they would set up a sugarcane plantation on the pitch, complete with Hispanic field laborers as a part of the set, you would be considered a deranged far-right lunatic conspiracy theorist. I'm watching this from Australia, and it's literally a woke fever dream. I cannot believe that leftists decided to push a demographic and cultural change this hard. Literally just a national humiliation ritual for the United States designed to make white people feel bad for existing. The message is, this is your country now, Chud. Get over it. But did you just call the field the pitch? Yep, he did, because he's Australian. You are watching the Super Bowl live from Australia. You are a living example of total American cultural victory, and you're trying to tell us who should perform at our halftime show, says Josh Billinson. Yep. Sorry for invoking your colleague from Austin. Asmongold gives his opinion on all the hate the NFL and Bad Bunny are getting.
Big of a deal. But, you know, again, it's weird that you're going to bring in somebody speaking Spanish to a primarily English audience, especially with like all the politics that have happened recently and him making comments. I like Bad Bunny, but, you know, I can see why people are mad. I think they just did it to get more.
Oh, total domination. He has to still massage it by being like, I like Bad Bunny. He has to play this delicate tightrope. Oh, well, I still like Bad Bunny, guys. Like, I'm not pure Chud, but, you know, it would be nice if he sang a couple English songs for us. Yeah, he has to do Diet Chud now. He has to do Diet Chud. Woke is so back. Oh, it's awesome. Oh, my God. Woke is so back. A couple months ago, he would have been like, Bad Bunny, Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny sucks. Speak English, God damn it. Asmon is actually surprisingly a fan of Bad Bunny. Brother, I don't think you understand. Asmon can be the biggest Bad Bunny fan, but he has a role to play here. And that role has nothing to do with his own personal consumption. It's like no different than Charlie Kirk being a legitimate fan of Nicki Minaj back when, you know, being a fan of Nicki Minaj indicated that you were at least liberal adjacent, right? Not current Nicki Minaj, because she sings about, you know, she sings about shaking her ass and things like that's the conservative mathematical equation on Nicki Minaj was she's a black woman, she's outspoken, and she talks about butts. So obviously this is moral degeneracy. So even though Charlie Kirk in his private affairs, as we now know, loved Nicki Minaj, like genuinely loved Nicki Minaj, he was a straight up Barb through and through, he would actually actively criticize Nicki Minaj because it's a performance for these guys. It's grifting. While Asmongold is maybe a real Bad Bunny fan, the performance expectation, the expectation in the right-wing performance that he's putting on is to say Bad Bunny needs to be deported, right? That's what the audience demands. But now the cultural appetite for saying idiotic things like that has actually cast aside. So Asmongold has to go back to a more moderate position, a Diet Chud position, where he's like, oh, I don't like that it's in Spanish. I'm a fan of Bad Bunny, but I just don't like that it's in Spanish. That's a good telltale sign of where we are at. Woke is only back if you're in the heart of empire. Outside of that, you're Is woke is back a meme, or is it actually happening culturally? I mean, one can even say it never truly went away. Yeah. Zach is a Bad Bunny fan. Asmongold cannot be. Well, he can now. There is room for him to, at the very least, openly say, majority of hip-hop artists are right-wing. You guys just assume they're liberal due to their music. That's my response to you. Depending on which period of time you're talking about, but also, I don't give a shit. Nick Fuentes agrees that said the Super Bowl was fun. Yeah, he did. Far-right political commentator and streamer Nick Fuentes says he enjoyed the Super Bowl halftime show because he has his ear to the ground. He has a better way of, one, constantly presenting a contrarian position while simultaneously recognizing the cultural forces that are shifting. Also, he's Hispanic. So maybe the Mexican part came out and started making him dance. Okay, who knows? Yeah, that's my Latinx. Okay, that's my little Latinx manlet right there. I can't lie. The TPUSA halftime thing and what it says about the state of opposition to global homo or race communism or Zog or whatever is so depressing. There's just nothing inspiring and attractive about what the white right has to offer in its current form. Kid Rock again. Ugh. Imagine being with the hoes or any normal person and shutting out at halftime because the Spanish is switching over to Rumble to watch a Kid Rock. Like, I think I'd rather die. I'll take Spanish at that point, a mercy. What is interesting about that halftime show is that it seems like they almost deliberately leaned away from militant wokeism. Unlike the late 2010s and early 2020s, the show didn't feel like they were intentionally giving white people the middle finger at every opportunity. Obviously, there was political messaging, but it was framed in a way that can plausibly be considered inclusive to normal people. No transvestites, nothing explicitly anti-American, nothing about Trump or immigration. There was an American flag, and he said, "God bless America." The white right has to contend with this more subversive, tactful expression of multiculturalism and leftism, which isn't as openly antagonistic. We have to be honest about what it is. This is surprisingly decent analysis from a neo-Nazi, by the way. It's something that I noticed as well. It's something that I brought up last night as well. Don't immediately negatively polarize against Nick Fuentes because it's Nick Fuentes saying it. He does have the capacity to sometimes be correct. What he is saying, or at least like the broader cultural note that he is landing on, this kind of performance, albeit still very woke, is palatable for virtually every American. Is what I said as well. Part of it is because it was all in Spanish, and many of the people don't understand the cultural undertones, like the political, the socioeconomic advocacy, the political significance. Most people don't understand it because it was in Spanish. That's number one. It didn't make a show of it. It did not actually hit you in the face with it. There's also definitely trans people there. Plus, Bad Bunny has done drag. No, I know. During the era of peak wokeism, the left was so arrogant and contemptuous that they really wanted to stick it to the white man, and they also wanted to be obvious. Ever since the culture started to turn around in 2022, it seems like the left has dialed it back and are now self-consciously trying not to be needlessly antagonistic towards whites. I think about how Tim Walz in the camo hat and the white dudes for Kamala was sort of an olive branch to white men. Of course, it was an embarrassing and ridiculous failure, but this was a market shift from the 2016 when the message practically was, "F you, we hate you." And I know this will be taken out of context by the usual suspects, so I will clarify. I'm not saying that the left doesn't hate us. Obviously they do, but they are being more tactful. It's a trick. And my point is that conservatives need to be mindful that we are not dealing with exactly the same animal. Maybe All American Halftime Show is an effective counter to Colin Kaepernick or something, but I think it's less effective when the left is toned down as it was last night. Colin Kaepernick, ironically enough, did a version of this as well, but because Colin Kaepernick did it in English, and because Colin Kaepernick is black and anti-blackness is the foundational version of right-wing reactionary sentiment historically in this country, even more so than, anti-Latino sentiment. Let's be real, okay? Not to compare different versions of colonial plunder and death and destruction. But the reality of the matter is, I think everyone can recognize that indigenous murder, indigenous genocide, and anti-blackness is foundational to the American experience. And therefore, even though Colin Kaepernick got the idea to, the idea to kneel during the national anthem from an American veteran, and he was talking about how this doesn't represent America, police brutality doesn't represent America, and all Americans and black people are Americans, all that stuff. The reaction to Colin Kaepernick's act of resistance was obviously far more aggressive. It was more so a celebration of Latin American heritage and culture and all of the existence's resistance that comes along with it. And while I would have personally favored maybe a little bit more aggressive messaging, as I said yesterday, this was a fantastic performance regardless. It's one that you can actually enjoy. It's one that you can consume and enjoy, and it's got something for everybody. And that's precisely the reason why this design, whether intentional or unintentional, creates this unique opportunity where the only people that get mad at it are self-isolating. If you have something that everyone can cherish and enjoy, and people still try to negatively polarize themselves against this thing that most normal people enjoyed, they end up casting themselves aside as outcasts. And that's what's so beautiful about this secondary impact on the right, because they're fucking molding in the stupidest ways possible. And this kind of reaction is going to make people who enjoy the halftime show and didn't think too much about it go, I didn't see that. Some people, of course, will read into it. They will actually agree with the messaging after they've been taught to hate it. But most people won't. They will be seen as weirdos, outcasts, odd,